So it is the continuation of the osteomyelitis. It is the part 2 video of osteomyelitis. We had left part 1 video till risk factors and already studied about the clinical features, risk factors. Now we will continue with diagnosis. Early diagnosis of acute osteomyelitis is critical because prompt antibiotic therapy may prevent necrosis of the bone. It is saying that if osteomyelitis is diagnosed in its early stage and if antibiotic therapy are provided, it will avoid or prevent the necrosis of the bone. That means irreversible bone damage will be avoided or may be prevented. Second point, osteomyelitis is primarily a clinical diagnosis, although the clinical picture may be confusing. That means osteomyelitis can be confused with any other clinical diagnosis. An inadequate or late diagnosis significantly diminishes the cure rate and increases the degree of complication and morbidity. That means an inadequate or late diagnosis can result in necrosis of the bone or permanent bone damage. So that means osteomyelitis should be diagnosed in early stages. Lab findings. What will be the lab findings? Aspirate pus or fluid. A smear is examined for cells and organisms. We will see that during osteomyelitis there will be formation of purulent in particular part where osteomyelitis has occurred. So when we will aspirate the fluid or pus from that particular area, we will examine it for the organism, that which kind of organism or bacteria has infected the particular bones or joints. WBC count will be elevated or increased because as bacteria invade in our body, WBC count increases because WBC are the main factors of our body that helps to fight through the bacterial infections. Means they are the immune system of our body. C-reactive protein will be elevated. Erythrocyte segmentation rate will be elevated up to 90%. Blood culture results positive, means blood culture will be seen positive because there will be presence of bacteria. So we can see bacteria colonization in particular part of the body. That is why blood culture will come positive in patient with hematogenous osteomyelitis because it is present in blood and it comes to the bone through blood. So hematogenous osteomyelitis will be seen in case of blood culture. Radiological findings. Plain X-ray. The earliest radiography signs of bone infection are soft tissue swelling and loss of facial planes. In plain X-ray, we will see that when there is an earliest or acute osteomyelitis, we can see that bones are infected with soft tissue swelled and the adjacent structures will lose their facial planes. These are usually encountered within 24 to 48 hours of infections. This type of X-rays or this type of radiological signs will be seen only if the body has encountered the bacteria or infection within 24 to 48 hours. Plain radiographic shows first week no abnormality of the bone, second week faint extracortical outline due to periosteal new bone formation. Classic X-ray sign of early pyogenic osteomyelitis. In first week we will see no abnormality. In second week we will see that pyogenic bacteria has already been starting its work of infecting the bone. 7 to 10 days destructive lytic lesion usually occurs. That means lesion in the bone will start occurring. 3 to 6 weeks elevation of periosteum and layered new bones formation. 3 to 8 weeks dead bone occurs. That means the process of necrosis will start in 3 to 8 weeks. Infection at fracture site has delayed union in humerus node, the extension periosteal retraction. This means that when the fracture occurs due to osteomyelitis, there will be delayed healing as it is seen in the picture. Sequestra surrounding by involucrum. Ultrasound. Ultrasound may detect a subperiosteal collection of fluid in early stage of osteomyelitis, but it cannot distinguish between hematoma and pus. In ultrasound, we can see that there will be collection of fluid or pus in the subperiosteal area, but ultrasound will not differentiate between that the presence of purulent is either blood or either pus. But we will see that there will be collection of something. CT scanning. CT scanning is useful method to detect early osseous erosion and to document the presence of sequestration, foreign body or gas formation. CT scan is the most useful method to detect that there is presence of any foreign body or there is formation of gas in that particular area. Through the less value in diagnosis, CT demonstrates changes in subacute or chronic osteomyelitis well. CT scan can also differentiate between the subacute and chronic osteomyelitis because there will be seen changes in bone. In chronic osteomyelitis, the bone will be damaged in more amount. MRI findings. MRI can be helpful in cases of doubtful diagnosis. If we are confused for osteomyelitis to other clinical findings, we go for MRI as it is helpful in doubtful diagnosis. We could differentiate between the two diagnoses. It is highly sensitive for detecting osteomyelitis as 3 to 5 days after the onset of infection. It can detect osteomyelitis within 3 to 5 days also. It is best method for demonstrating bone marrow inflammation. Bone marrow inflammation is occurring. If bone marrow inflammation has occurred, MRI is the best method to find the inflammation in the bone marrow. It helps to differentiate between soft tissue infection and osteomyelitis. MRI findings will also let us know that it is soft tissue infection or osteomyelitis. That means it is helpful in doubtful diagnosis as we have seen in first point also. Treatment. Now we will see the treatment. General treatment will be nutritional therapy or general supportive treatment by intaking enough calorie, protein, vitamin. This type of treatment can be done in acute stages or 2 to 3 days of bacterial contact. Second will be antibiotic therapy. Because of bacteria or microorganisms invading in the body, antibiotic therapy is given. Surgical treatment in chronic cases. Immobilization, splintage of affected part. This occurs when the necrosis of the bone has started. So we will splint the affected part. Complications of the osteomyelitis can be chronic osteomyelitis, septic arthritis, growth disturbance, septicemia, DVT, disseminated vascular thrombocytosis, pulmonary embolism, pathological fracture, metastatic infections. So this will be the management of acute osteomyelitis. So based on clinical diagnosis, our clinical diagnosis were bone aspiration, bone culture, culture from the other septic foot. When we will do the diagnosis and when we come to know that what kind of bacteria has infected the particular part, then we will start the antibiotic therapy. Means first we have seen the clinical diagnosis. After clinical diagnosis, we came to know that which kind of bacteria has infected the particular part. Now we will start the antibiotic therapy according to the bacteria. Now culture and antibiotic susceptible results. Now antibiotic has given its result properly, and if not, then we will change the antibiotic if necessary. Then changes in antibiotic will result in change to oral antibiotic when patient clinical stable. Complete total of 6 weeks of antibiotic. If patient totally stable, we will continue antibiotic till 6 weeks. Continue parenteral antibiotic for 4 to 6 weeks. In case if we are changing antibiotics, if we are giving oral antibiotics, we should give it till 6 weeks. And if we are giving the parenteral route of antibiotic, we can give it till 4 to 6 weeks. Just in case if we are changing antibiotics for satisfactory results.